Cheap gifts belong in the trash. Amanda sneered, tossing my carefully wrapped anniversary present into the pool. The handmade photo album I'd spent months creating sank slowly, blue water seeping through the delicate pages. My husband Michael squeezed my hand as we watched 10 years of memories dissolve before our eyes. My name is Victoria Bennett, and at 35, I just watched my stepsister destroy one of the most meaningful gifts I ever created. But while Amanda stood there smirking, she had no idea that in 48 hours, I would be sitting in the boardroom of Bennett Technologies, her precious company, as its new majority shareholder. You always were cheap, Victoria, Amanda continued, sipping her champagne. I mean, a homemade album. For your 10th anniversary? Michael deserves better. She gestured to her own lavish poolside party where executives from Bennett Technologies mingled, all here to celebrate her latest promotion to CEO. I maintained my composure, years of business negotiations serving me well. Thanks for letting me know how you feel, Amanda, I replied calmly. Michael's grip on my hand tightened. He knew what was coming, even if Amanda didn't. The story of how I ended up here is complicated. When my father married Amanda's mother 15 years ago, he merged more than just our families. Bennett Technologies, the company my father had built from nothing, became the battleground for Amanda's ambitions. She always resented that Dad had chosen to keep me involved in the company, even after bringing her family into the fold. At least Michael's gift to you was worthy of the occasion. Amanda smirked, pointing to the diamond necklace I wore. Though I suppose he has to compensate for having such a disappointing wife. I touched the necklace gently, remembering the morning Michael had given it to me. The best gifts come from the heart, Amanda, something you've never understood. She laughed, the sound sharp and dismissive. The heart doesn't pay bills, Victoria. Success requires ruthlessness. That's why I'm COO, and you're still playing with paper and glue. What Amanda didn't know was that while she'd been climbing the corporate ladder through office politics and manipulation, I'd been quietly building my own investment portfolio. Every time she belittled me at family gatherings, I'd channel that energy into strategic business moves. Every snide remark about my little consulting firm had fueled another careful investment. The truth was, Bennett Technologies was struggling. Amanda's aggressive management style had driven away key talent, and their stock price had been falling steadily for months. My father, now semi-retired, had been too trusting, too willing to believe Amanda's excuses about market conditions and temporary setbacks. But I had seen the writing on the wall. For the past year, I'd been systematically buying up company shares through various investment vehicles. The board members, increasingly concerned about Amanda's leadership, had been more than willing to sell to someone they saw as the founder's daughter, someone who understood the company's original vision. Oh look, Amanda called out to her guests, pointing at the now ruined album floating in the pool. Victoria's little art project is swimming. Maybe it'll evolve into something actually valuable. The executives laughed nervously, already sensing something was off in the interaction. I had met with most of them privately over the past month, though Amanda didn't know that yet. You know, Amanda, I said, setting down my glass, you remind me of what Dad always used to say about business. She prettied, expecting praise. What's that? The most dangerous moment is when you think you're invincible. Her smile faltered slightly. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, I replied, gathering my things. Enjoy your party. I have some paperwork to finish before Monday's board meeting. Board meeting? Amanda's voice had lost some of its edge. What board meeting? I paused, looking back at her. Oh, you didn't know? There's an emergency session to discuss the company's future leadership. I'm sure you'll get the memo soon. As Michael and I walked away, I could feel Amanda's eyes boring into my back. The diamond necklace caught the setting sun, throwing sparkles across the water where my ruined gift floated, a sacrifice that had been worth every moment of planning. You okay? Michael asked as we reached our car. I smiled, thinking of the documents waiting in my office, the carefully orchestrated moves that would unfold over the next 48 hours. Perfect, I replied. Amanda just taught our anniversary gift an important lesson about staying afloat. The weight of the company's shares in my portfolio felt particularly satisfying at that moment. Sometimes the best revenge isn't immediate. It's watching someone slowly realize they've underestimated you their entire life. Monday's board meeting was going to be very interesting indeed. The weekend crawled by as I prepared for Monday's revelation. Amanda called 6 times, each voicemail more demanding than the last. By Sunday evening, she'd switched from aggressive to conciliatory, leaving messages about family misunderstandings and how we should talk things through. I ignored them all. Monday morning, I arrived at Bennett Technologies headquarters an hour early. The security guard, Jim, who'd known me since I was a teenager running errands for Dad, smiled warmly. "Welcome back, Ms. Victoria. Your new office is ready." Amanda had redecorated the entire executive floor in stark modern designs, all glass and chrome. But she left Dad's old office untouched, using it as a storage room, probably thinking it was a power move to relegate the founder's space to storing office supplies. She had no idea I'd spent the last week quietly restoring it. At 8:45 a.m., board members began arriving. Each one nodded to me with varying degrees of knowing looks. They'd all seen the numbers, watched Amanda's reckless decisions, and secretly supported my careful acquisition of shares. Mr. Peterson, the longest-serving board member, actually winked as he passed. At 8:55, Amanda burst through the doors, her designer heels clicking aggressively against the marble floor. She stopped short when she saw me sitting in Dad's old chair at the head of the boardroom table. "What are you doing in that seat?" she demanded, her face flushing. "That's reserved for C-level executives." I smiled, sliding a folder across the polished table. "Exactly." Before she could respond, the board members filed in, taking their seats. Amanda stood frozen, watching as her usual seat was occupied by Michael, who now represented his own investment firm's significant stake in the company. "Please take a seat, Amanda," I said, gesturing to one of the remaining chairs. "We have a lot to cover." "This is ridiculous," she sputtered, remaining standing. "I'm the COO. I demand to know what's going on." Mr. Peterson cleared his throat. "Ms. Bennett, Victoria, would you like to begin?" I opened my folder, distributing copies of the documents inside. Over the past 18 months, Bennett Technologies has seen a 40% decline in market share, lost 12 key executives, and faced 3 potential class action lawsuits from former employees. Amanda's face went pale as she finally sank into a chair. "Furthermore," I continued, "recent financial audits have revealed concerning patterns of resource allocation and questionable decision-making at the executive level." "You can't prove anything," Amanda interrupted, but her voice lacked conviction. I pulled out another document. "Actually, I can. This report details every mismanaged project, every alienated client, and every questionable expense charged to the company, including, ironically, last weekend's pool party." The board members murmured, flipping through their copies. Amanda's hands began to shake. "But the most significant change," I said, standing up, "is the company's ownership structure. As of last Friday, I hold 51% of Bennett Technologies shares, making me the majority shareholder." Amanda laughed, but it came out more like a choke. "That's impossible." "I would have known." "Would you?" I asked quietly. "You were too busy throwing my anniversary present in the pool to notice what was happening to your company's stock." The room fell silent. Everyone had heard about the pool incident. Apparently, Amanda had bragged about it to several executives, calling it a power move to put me in my place. "The board has already voted," Mr. Peterson announced. "Victoria Bennett is hereby appointed as CEO of Bennett Technologies, effective immediately. Amanda, your services as COO are no longer required." Amanda stood up so quickly her chair toppled backward. "You can't do this. I built this company. I made it what it is today." "Yes," I agreed, "you did make it what it is today, a struggling company in desperate need of new leadership. Dad built this company on innovation and respect for employees. You turned it into your personal kingdom." "Dad," she scoffed. "Your precious father who let me do whatever I wanted because he felt guilty about marrying my mother. He was weak." The boardroom door opened and everyone turned to see my father standing there, looking older and sadder than I'd ever seen him. "No, Amanda," he said quietly. "I wasn't weak. I was wrong. Wrong to think that giving you power would make you understand responsibility. Victoria tried to warn me years ago, but I didn't listen." Amanda's face crumpled. This wasn't how her story was supposed to end. She was supposed to be the brilliant businesswoman who took Bennett Technologies into the future, not the cautionary tale of nepotism gone wrong. "Security will escort you to clear out your office," I said, pressing the intercom. "Your company car and credit cards have already been deactivated." As two security guards appeared at the door, Amanda turned to me, her mask finally cracking. "You planned this all along, didn't you? While I was busy mocking your little consulting firm, you were building a takeover." I thought about my ruined anniversary gift, about years of snide comments and public humiliation. "No, Amanda, you planned this. Every time you underestimated me, every time you chose cruelty over kindness, you planned this moment. I just made sure I was ready when it arrived." In the weeks that followed, Bennett Technologies underwent a transformation. I reinstated several key employees Amanda had driven away, restructured the toxic departments, and began rebuilding the company's reputation. The market responded positively. Our stock price rose 15% in the first month alone. Amanda, meanwhile, didn't go quietly. She tried everything: threatening legal action, attempting to rally employees against me, even showing up at Dad's house crying about family loyalty. None of it worked. The paper trail of her mismanagement was too clear, and the board's decision was unanimous. One evening, as I was working late in Dad's restored office, my stepmother Margaret came to see me. She looked tired, older somehow, without her usual perfect makeup and designer clothes. "Amanda's moving to Chicago," she said, settling into the chair across from me. "She's taken a junior position at a startup there." I nodded, continuing to review reports. "I hope it works out for her." "Victoria," Margaret sighed, "I know my daughter can be difficult. But was all this really necessary?" I put down my pen and looked at her directly. "You remember what Amanda said when she threw my anniversary present in the pool? She said cheap gifts belong in the trash. But that album wasn't cheap, it was valuable. It represented 10 years of memories, of love, of moments that mattered. She destroyed it because she could, because she thought power meant never having to respect others' feelings." Margaret looked away, unable to meet my eyes. "The company was the same way," I continued. "She treated it like her personal playground, destroying things because she could, hurting people because she enjoyed it. Someone had to stop her." "And that someone had to be you?" Margaret asked quietly. I smiled, touching the photo on my desk, a new anniversary picture of Michael and me, taken the day after I became CEO. "Yes, because I understood what she never did. True power isn't about destroying things. It's about building them, protecting them, making them better." Margaret stood to leave, then paused at the door. "She kept the pieces, you know, of your album. Had them fish out of the pool after everyone left. They're in a box in her apartment. I think she knew, even then, that she'd gone too far." After she left, I sat in the growing darkness of my office, thinking about choices and consequences. The company was thriving now, employees were happier, and our future looked bright. But success wasn't just about profits and stock prices, it was about creating something meaningful, something that would last. I opened my drawer and pulled out a familiar package, a new anniversary album I'd been working on. This one included photos from the pool party, the board meeting, and my first day as CEO. Michael had insisted we document everything, saying sometimes the best stories include the hard parts too. On the last page, I'd written a quote from Dad's original business plan: "Success isn't measured by what you gain, but by what you give back." Amanda never understood that. She saw the company as something to take from, not something to nurture and grow. As I closed the album, my phone buzzed with a text from Michael. "Dinner tonight to celebrate 1 month of CEO Victoria." I smiled, gathering my things. The office could wait. Some gifts, like time of loved ones, were too precious to waste. After all, I had a company to run, but more importantly, I had a life to live. And this time, no one was going to throw it in the pool.